Today I'm going to be showing you how to crochet these really fun two-tone solid granny squares. They're nice and simple to make, although a word of warning, I do advise that you have at least a basic understanding of how a granny square is constructed, solid or otherwise, as it will make your life a little bit easier when following this color change that we do halfway through each round. That being said, you can make these granny squares as small or as big as you like. You can use any yarn weight, any hook size. The only thing you need is 2 different colors of yarn. All the information for the blanket on the table here is available on my website hookedbyrobin.com. I've listed the yarns I use, the size, the amounts, all that jazz. So if this one caught your eye in particular, all the details are available there. To begin, we're going to start with a magic ring. Now, if you absolutely detest the magic ring, that's fine. You can substitute it out by chaining 4 and joining with a slip stitch to create a little ring. But from my magic ring, or from your chain ring, go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Then work 2 double crochet stitches into the ring. So that's 1 and that's 2. Chain 2 and work 3 more double crochet stitches into the ring. So we have 2 sides and 1 corner of our square formed. Now chain 1 and we're going to switch to our second color. So bring in your second color, leave a tail and place it over your hook and draw it through that chain. You can pull the yellow down a little bit and just tuck it to the back. I like to put it behind with my finger on it just so it doesn't become too loose. Then with the white tail, I also put that so it joins its friend at the back, and I have my finger just holding on to those 2 tails. Now you're going to chain 1 with your new color, so in my case that's white, and then working into the magic ring, we're going to work 3 more double crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3. Chain 2 and work 3 double crochets into the ring to complete the 4th side of our square. 1, 2, 3. Then chain 2, then join with a slip stitch to the top of your initial chain 3. Then you can go ahead and tighten up the magic ring at the back. And that is the first round of this 2-tone square complete. Now we're going to turn our work, so just flip it around and slip stitch back into that chain 2 space. For round 2, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and work 1 double crochet back into that chain 2 space. Now our corners moving forward for this square will consist of 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Now for this return, we're only working half the corner. So we've got our chain 2, which counts as the first double crochet, and then our second double crochet. So that is half a corner formed. Now we're going to work a double crochet into each of the double crochet stitches from the row below. So you will have 3 double crochets, and we're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of each of those 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now we're over to the next chain 2 space, and it's an all white space. So into this chain 2 space, we're going to work 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 double crochets back into that same chain 2 space. So we're doing a complete corner in the white. Then work 1 double crochet into the top of those 3 double crochets from the row below. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're over to a colour change corner, so we're going to work half a corner in white before we switch to yellow. So that is 2 double crochets, just working into that very last space there. That's 1 and 2. Then chain 1 and bring the white yarn to the front of your work and just pop your thumb on it. Then we're going to pick up the yellow from the round below and draw it over and through that chain. Then chain 1. Now we need to work the second half of this corner, so that would be 2 yellow double crochets back into this same spot where we just did the white double crochets. Now you could go ahead and just work 2 double crochets straight into that corner. I'll show you what that looks like. That's 1 and that's 2. However, you are left with this little strand of yarn from where we carried up that yellow. So if you don't like the look of that, I'm going to show you a little trick that I learned from Roz from the YouTube channel Play Hooky with Me. It's very, very clever. I wish I thought of it myself. And the minute I saw her doing it, I adapted it and oh, it's so clever. So I'm going to show you how you do that now. So I'm going to yarn over, and then before I go into this space to work my double crochet, I'm going to wrap this strand around my hook. So pop your hook around the back of that strand and then into the space, just straight in there, and draw up a loop. Now you'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, then yarn over and pull through these remaining 3. And you can see that strand of carried yarn has disappeared. We've worked it into the middle of this double crochet stitch. Really clever. Kudos to Roz for that. I would never have thought of that myself. Then work 1 more normal double crochet into that spot. So that eliminates that tiny little floated strand. You can't tell the difference. Really nifty trick. All right, so moving on, we're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of the 3 double crochets from the row below. So just work straight into the top of the stitch. 1, 2, 3. And we're back to a chain 2 space, which means we form a corner. Now we're on the yellow side, so we're going to form an entire corner in yellow. So that is 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, all into that same chain 2 space. Now for this final side, this one can be a little bit tricky. Again, we're going to work 1 double crochet into the top of the 3 stitches from the row below. Now these last 2, you can get a little bit befuddled on, so I'm going to show you really clearly how to identify them. So this first stitch, really easy to spot. Work a double crochet into that first one. Now this second double crochet is a little bit stretched. So you can see the other side of it is here. So it's quite a stretched one if you just look from the top. So make sure you catch that second loop. So we're going under from here, but you see if I come out, I can very easily miss it. So you just want to make sure that you are picking up that second loop that seems a bit stretched and it's a little bit dipped down. You want to grab that one too for that second double crochet. Now this third one is into the same place that you slip stitched with your other colour. So if you pull it apart slightly, you can see where this white is joining this yellow. See that little gap in there? That's where we're putting the third double crochet stitch. So work into the top of that chain and you can spot it by where you slip stitched. So into that little spot there is where I put my third and final stitch. All right, so that tackles those three somewhat tricky stitches along that final side. We're right back to where we started round 2. We've got half a corner in white, so we need to finish that off. So into this spot here, we're going to work 2 double crochets. So that's 1 and that's 2. Chain 2 and slip stitch to the top of that second chain that you made right in the very beginning. So here's the top of the double crochet, the chain is just here. So 1, 2 chains, slip stitch to the top of that chain 2. And that is round 2 complete. So again, turn your work for this third round, slip stitch back into that chain 2 space that you just created. And we begin again. Now this is how you're going to do every subsequent row. Chain 2, which counts as your first double crochet, and then work 1 more double crochet into that space. So that is half the corner. Then work 1 double crochet into the top of all the double crochet stitches from the row below. Each time you do a round, it will grow by 4 stitches on each side. So we had 3 to work into when we were doing round 2. Now we'll have 4 more, so we have 7 along this next round. And then again on the rounds after that, you'll have 11 and so on and so forth, plus 4 each time. So work 1 double crochet into each of those 7 double crochets from the row below. Then we hit our chain 2 space. We're on the all yellow side. So in yellow, we're going to do a full corner. 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets. All worked into that same chain 2 space to form your new corner. Then again, work 1 double crochet into each of these yellow double crochets all the way along the edge. Now we've reached the point at which we're going to be changing colour, so we need half a corner in yellow, so 2 double crochets. That's 1, that's 2, then chain 1, bring the colour you're working with, for me that's yellow, to the front of your work, then bring up the second colour from the row below, for me that's white, draw it through that loop, and then chain 1. Now this is the point at which we do that nifty little trick I learned from Roz. So yarn over, place your hook behind that strand of yarn and into the chain 2 space. Then catch the yarn at the back, draw a loop through. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2. then yarn over and pull through the remaining 3. Then work 1 more double crochet into that same spot. Now we're back to a side, so work 1 double crochet into the top of every double crochet along the side of your square. We're back to a full corner in the same color, so into that chain 2 space, 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, all into the chain 2 space, forming a new corner. Then we're back along this final edge. Now this is the one with this stretch stitch and working into the top of the chain. So go ahead and work 1 double crochet into each of the double crochet stitches that you can clearly spot. So for this row, that'll be the first 5. Then we have this stretched double crochet where the loop is running down and away from you. So ensure you catch both loops of that last double crochet there. And then your final stitch, this is the one that's very easy to forget, is worked into the top of the chain where you slip stitched the color to. So you can spot it. If I pull it apart, you can spot it. Work your final double crochet of the side into that spot. Then we meet where we started. We've got half a yellow corner. We need to finish it off. So work 2 double crochets. That's 1. That's 2. Chain 2 and slip stitch to the top of the chain 2 that you started the round with. So for me personally, I like it when they are 3 rounds. I think they're quite nice and neat, and that is the amount of rounds I did per square on my personal blanket. You can, of course, take this larger if you want to. You can do as many rounds as you like. You will simply be repeating what we did on that last 3rd round. And for every round that you increase by, your side stitches increase by 4 more stitches. 3, 7, 11, 15, etc. Now once your square is the size that you want it to be, you have finished your very final slip stitch of the square, you're going to go ahead and chain 1, and you can cut off the yarn that you are working with, leave a decent tail for weaving in, pull that through and pull it tight, and then you'll have your other colour still attached to the ball. We're going to snip that one off too. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 ends to weave in. I've got a great video on how to weave in your ends if you're unsure, so I will have that one down below if you needed a little refresher on weaving in your ends. Now when it comes to joining your squares, you have all the options that you would have for joining any crochet squares. For me personally, on my blanket, I did a tight join as you go for my squares, which gives this lovely little corded edge, but it's entirely optional. You can sew them together, crochet them together. The world is your joining oyster. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you go on to make some 2-tone squares of your own. They're really fun, and you can come up with some really interesting designs in a blanket when using this technique. So until next time, happy crocheting. Bye.